Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This I think I've sort of read the list as this is the first time actually I've read the Senate amendments today, and so I haven't read it word for word. But the gist of it is that basically you need a photo ID, and that it be a government issued ID in most cases. I think whether it be a government employee ID, the driver's license, a passport, and there was another one just referenced by TCA citation. I'm not sure which one that was, but if you work at say the Aluminum Company of America in Blount County, and you have your you every day you have to have a security badger. That's not a government entity, but if you have a photo ID like that, you wear it every day to work to get into the plant, but that would not be sufficient under this law, right?
My understanding, that would not be sufficient. Correct. You
would think that any valid employer ID. I guess the question is are we trying to figure out if the person is real, or are we trying to sort of put a poll tax in or some sort of hoop to jump through so that people won't be able to vote? My concern is that I've read statistics. I don't know this because I've never counted the 6 million people in this state or surveyed them, but the statistics say that there are a significant number of people in the state that do not have a driver's license. And do you know how many citizens in Tennessee above the age of 18 do not have a driver's license?
I do not.
Could I assume the Department of Safety could provide that to us, but it's possible that it's tens or even hundreds of thousands, I would assume. And I guess if we could do the ones between 18 and 65, a passport, I have one. Most people don't have a passport. It's much less prevalent than a driver's license. We're in a situation where a passport costs. I think you don't have to get a driver's license, but just the ID itself, just for identification purposes. Isn't that like $10 or $12 to get one of those made? And you may have to go stand in line half a day at the driver's license station to get it, or make an appointment or something like that. A passport takes days and maybe weeks to get, and costs maybe like $60, $80 or something to get, and so it's even more restrictive. Obviously you can't get one of these other government employee IDs unless you get hired by the state, and of course we can't afford to hire everybody. We can't afford to buy everybody a passport. I'm not sure we could even afford to give everybody in the state a driver's license identification, not the driver's license privilege, but the identification card that comes from the Department of Safety. It seems to me that if poor people are the ones that largely don't have driver's license, that if we're going to require this document that requires some effort, maybe you'd have to, these stations are not open a lot on the weekends. You may have to take off from work to do this. You may have to pay a fee to get this document. You have to get transportation if you're not close to the driver's license station. In Knoxville, the driver's license stations are on the periphery of the county, east and west. They're not in the central area where the statistics tell us where the people that don't have driver's license live. And I'm not even certain that the public transportation, the buses, go to the driver's license stations in Knoxville. But if we had some information that told us how many people don't have these IDs, how much it costs to get it, how accessible these stations are to public transportation, maybe we need a program where the state buys. If we're going to require an ID to vote, we give a voter ID card. We're saying that's not enough, but that's at least free. If we're going to require a photo ID, maybe I don't know if your budget has enough money could we conceive, maybe we need to give everybody in the state this ID, make it mandatory to have the ID, and make it free to obtain it. If we're going to make it difficult to vote, in my opinion, we need to make it easy for people to be able to obey the rules, because as I read this amendment, you're going to go to the polling place, and if you don't have a driver's license, basically they're going to put your ballot in a little box somewhere, and they're never going to open it. They're going to write reject on it, and you may think your vote counted, but nobody's ever going to open it. And we are targeting poor and minority Tennesseans that disproportionately do not have these IDs that are mandated. And if we don't make it easy to get a photo ID, I find it hard to believe that we're going to actually pass legislation that requires this to vote. I have seen no study. I have seen no statistics. I have seen no information brought to this committee that shows us that we have a problem of people fraudulently voting in this state. And we talked, I know, last week about immigrants and illegal immigrants and such, and that's already against the law. I know the chairman of this full committee has talked about dead people voting. That's already against the law. We're talking about, are we going to inconvenience the average Tennessean, working people, minorities, and turn them away, or put their provisional ballot in a box that never gets opened and never gets counted? This is not the right legislation unless we help Tennesseans to obtain these IDs so that it is a level playing field for all.